it is not really clear why we keep looking to successive union budgets for significant economic policy changes. By now, experience should have taught us that we should neither believe the declared budget estimates of revenue and expenditure in the coming fiscal year, nor have much faith in the schemes and outlays that were promised in the budget speech. Even so, we keep looking, perhaps because we realize that some unstated priorities and approaches are revealed at least through the actual pattern of resource raising and spending. Sir, in the context, three features of the current budget stand out, none particularly surprising. First, this budget will do little if nothing to address the central problems facing the Indian economy today. Sharp increase in inequality, leading to depressed mass consumption demand. Related to this, the serious employment crisis reflected particularly in largely stagnant real wages, worsening conditions of self-employment, and a real distress in finding jobs, especially for the youth. And all this then resulting in sluggish private investment, not just among corporates, but also among all medium enterprises that see much reduced possibilities of profitable economic activity. Dealing with this would have required significant changes in policy orientation, more public spending in health, education, agriculture and rural development, proactive employment generation, policies not just through genuine employment guarantees in rural and urban areas, but also through the systematic package to create financial viability and technology access for small medium enterprises, and a greater no strings generosity to state governments that are also better positioned to make such changes on the ground. Sir, the Modi government's miserly bordering the exploitative attitude to state governments as well as its overtly partisan approach has come out clearly in fiscal policy. Tax revenues are constitutionally required to be shared with the state governments according to the ratio and the pattern determined by the successive Finance Commission. The 14th Finance Commission recommended increasing the state share in total divisible pool for 32% to 42% to be implemented over the period 2015 to 2020. Yet the government has effectively managed to circumvent this by significantly increasing the share of cesses and surcharges on tax which do not have to be shared with the states. This has brought down the share of tax revenues going to state to 34% in the last few years. This is also evident of the revised estimates of the current year. At the same time, the centre has taken decision on taxation without consulting state governments. So states' revenues are curtailed by such central policies without any compensation. And now this year budget reveals that when anticipated tax revenues are not received, the default choice of central government is to cut central transfers to states. The revised estimates suggest that net tax revenue going to the centre are going to be lower than the budgetary expectation. Sir, the Modi government's politically partisan approach to states has also been evident for some time. Felt by the opposition-ruled states that have been denied central funds, even in the face of natural calamities. Meanwhile, the states are openly promised more funds if only their people choose to elect the double-engine Sarkar. In the brazen denial of basic principle of federalism. But the centralizing tendency has become most evident recently in the law that effectively dismantles the rural employment guarantee by changing its character away from the rights-based demand-driven scheme available in all rural areas to one is which the central government decides when, where and how much employment it provides, and allows more capital investment and contractors. All this even as the new law requires state governments to bear 40% of the cost, which would make financially impossible for most states to continue a part of present level of employment in the scheme, even if the center were decided. Sir, the budget allocates 95,692 crores for the new Viksit Bharat guarantee for Rozgar Ajivan Mission, Gramin. It is quite possible that other planned rural infrastructure works will be simply transferred on to the scheme because the capital intensive contractor-based works can also be undertaken. In addition, the center expects that state governments to cop up additional amount to bring the total rupees 1,51,282 crore. This is financially impossible for most states, which are already facing huge financial pressure. So the center can blame the states if the new schemes delivers less than the MNREGA.
One line.
The promise of 125 days work per household will obviously not be met, but now the Modi government can say that it is not its own fault, but that the state government that has refused to do its bit. It can win both ways, claim the scheme as another gift of the leader rather than the right of the people, the blame state government if the scheme does not deliver.